Welcome guys, and what we're going to be looking at in this tutorial is stem and leaf diagrams, which will be a nice little bit of revision from the stem and leaf diagrams we studied for the junior cert. Now if we look at example 1 here, it says, here are the marks gained by a class of students in a science test, and it lists all the marks. The first thing I would always do is make sure I know how many students they're representing. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And because there's two lines, 15 times 2 means in total there's 30 students in this class, okay? Which would be something I'd always add in. Construct a stem and leaf diagram to represent this data. Well, there is only one set of data, so I only need one stem and one leaf. So I draw a straight line down and I'm going to have a stem here and a leaf here. Now what I would see next is that the smallest piece of data that I have here, the smallest piece of data or the smallest mark obtained would be, seems to be in the 40s. So what I would see here is I need to start with my stem 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there doesn't seem to be anyone above that. So we're going to start with the 40s, and I would underline all of my numbers in the 40s. So we have 40, 44, 47, 49. So we're going to put those in order now, with the first digit 4 going in our stem and the second digit going in our leaf. So we have 4, then we have 0 for 40, we have 4 for 44, 7 for 47, and 9 for 49. And then I will cross those off to show me that I've used them. Now I'm going to go for the 50s. So we're going to underline all the numbers in the 50s, just like this, to make sure we don't miss any piece of data. And then I'm going to look for the smallest number in the 50s. So the smallest number I can see in the 50s is 52. So I'm going to have 52, cross it off. 53, cross it off. We try and keep it in line so we can see the shape of the distribution. 54, cross it off. 57, cross it off, 58 and 59, and cross them off. Then we're going to go for the, and there's two 59s here, so that means we need 2 9s. Now we're going to go for the 60s. So we have 60, 60, 60, 60, underlining all of the ones in the 60s to make sure we don't miss any. So I can see the smallest number in the 60s is 61. We always go from smallest to largest. Then I have 3 63s, which is 1, 2, 3. Cross off, and cross it off. Then I have 65 and 65, so I have 2 65s. Oh, sorry, I have 4 63s. And I didn't cross off. Oh, I should have had 2 57s. So I'm going to go back here now, and I need to make sure that I change that, because they have to be in the correct order, guys. And I have to make sure that they have the correct skew. So I have 2 57s, I should have a 58, and then I should have 2 59s, just like this, okay? So sorry, I was on 63, I should have 4 63s, then I'm going to 65, which I have 2 of, so I just need to move across here. 2 65s, so cross those off. I have a 68 and I have a 69. Oh, sorry, I have 2 68s and 2 69s, and 1 69, there we go. Done, done, done. So now I'm going to go for the 70s, and again I have 70, 70, 70, underlining them all to try and keep them and point them all out. So we start with 70, we have 2 70s, so 2 zeros. We then have 75, 76, and 74, so I'm going to go 4, 5, 6, cross them off. Happy days. And then I have 80 and I have 2 81s. So I have 80, 1 and 1. We have none in the 90s in the end. And now the last thing I need here, which I'm going to do in a different colour, is I need what's called a key. In the key you can pick any number from your stem and leaf. So I'm going to pick 63. And we write 6/3 equals 63. And then we make sure to have whatever it is after it. So 63 marks. And that's how we fully do our stem and leaf diagram for part 1. So part 2 here says, what is the mode? Now we remember from our study of the measures of locations that the mode is the one that occurs the most. So looking at my diagram, 63 occurs. I have it in one too many times. So as you can see, guys, counting the data is very important at the end. So I should have 2 5s, 2 8s, and then a 9. 2 5s, 2 8s, and then a 9. Because I should only have 30 pieces of data. So let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So that's how I knew I had one too many. However, 63 still occurs the most, so the mode is equal to 63 marks. Then they want me to find the median, and as again we went through in our measures of locations, we know now to find the median, we're going to use the formula. The median number is going to be is equal to 1/2 by n plus 1, which means it's going to be 1/2 by 30 plus 1, which is going to mean it's going to be the 15th/16th person. So I'm going to count from smallest to largest in my data to try and find the 15th and the 16th person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So between these two numbers is going to be my median, which is 63 and 63. So that means I'm going to have my median again is going to be 63 marks. The last one says to find my range. My range I know is the biggest minus the smallest. So now I'm going to add that in, and I always make sure to write out what I'm doing as I'm doing it to get as many marks as possible. So the range we know is the biggest value, take away the smallest value. So the highest marks achieved in this exam were 81. Take away the lowest marks achieved in this exam, which was 40. So my range is 41. And that's, guys, how we complete a stem and leaf diagram. Now there is another type here called a back-to-back stem and leaf diagram, where we have two sets of data. So we're now going to pause the video, if we want to add example 1 into our notes. And then we're going to look at example 2, which is called a back-to-back stem and leaf diagram, which is when we have two different sets of data. So in this one here, it says the results for the examinations in science and French for a class are shown in the back-to-back stem and leaf diagram below. So for science, that would be 25 marks. 2 and 5 makes 25. 2 and 7 makes 27 marks. However, for the French, it would be 3 and 6, so it would be 36. So it says how many students took the examinations. Well, this is again where we need to count. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So I can see 19 took science, and let's check if it's the same for French. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So in total here, guys, I know that 19 students took each exam. What is the range in marks for A, science, and B, French? So again, we know that the range is going to be the largest minus the smallest, which is the first thing I'd write down. The range is equal to the biggest minus the smallest, and then I'm going to try that for science and for French. Okay, so now let's look. If we look at science first and then we look at French. In science, we can see our largest mark was 91. Excuse me, take away our smallest mark, which was 25. So we're going to have 91 minus 25, which gives me 66 as my range for science. For French, my largest mark was 85, but my lowest mark was only 36. So we're going to have 85 minus 36, which is 49 marks. Then it says what is the median mark for science. Well, again, guys, to find my median, I'm going to use my formula to help me locate it, where my median I know is equal to 1/2 by n plus 1. Well, there's 19 students, so we have 1/2 by 19 plus 1. So I know my median is going to be the 10th student. So now I need to count from the smallest to find 10. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, always counting from the stem out. So my median in this one would be 55. So I'm going to say, therefore, my median is equal to 55 marks. Now guys, part 4 here says to find the interquartile range for French. Well, we know from studying our measures of variability that our interquartile range, IQ, is equal to Q3, which is my upper quartile, minus Q1, which is my lower quartile. So if I want to find my upper quartile and my lower quartile, well, instead of using a half by n plus 1, I'm going to use a quarter by n plus 1 and 3/4 by n plus 1. So if I have 3/4 by n plus 1 to find my upper quartile, that would be 3/4 by 19 plus 1, which would give me 15. Q1 would be a quarter by n plus 1, which would be a quarter by 19 plus 1, which would just give me 5. So my 5th student and my 15th student would be my upper and my lower quartile, which again I'm just going to highlight here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be my lower quartile, Q1. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I can see here now that Q1 is going to be 48 and Q3 is going to be 74. So my interquartile range is going to be 74, take away 48, which is going to give me 26 marks. Okay, now again guys, there was a lot in that tutorial there, so pause your tutorial here. Make sure we add example 2 into our notes copies, and then we're going to look at a few questions ourselves. This should all be revision from the junior cert, but take your time, go back over it and make sure we fully understand everything we need to know about stem and leaf diagrams. Thanks guys, bye now.